skip the natural history of the quilt overall for a minute. And we're going to go to the 1930s. And this is a quintessential 1930s trip around the world. Why is it a quintessential 1930s? Nile green and red violet. Hello, if that's in your quilt, at some point it was in the 1930s. And one of the fun things about them is they tend to look extremely happy. Prior to the 1930s, the palette from 1890 to about 1910 was monochromatic. You had black grounds, soldier blue, which is a dusty medium blue. You had navy blue, red, claret, which was like a burgundy. We've seen that in another quilt, and black, and then white printed on that. And it was a pretty somber palette. And then as part of war reparations, Germany had to share their dye recipe for these colors. So the palette changed, kaboom. Not, oh, this dribbled out one year and that dribbled out another year, and it like changed. And people took to it like crazy. And of course, a lot of this you've inevitably heard of feed sacks. Feed sacks were printed with these kind of prints, these almost cartoony looking florals. And one of the reasons they did that was it was the Depression, and people had to buy flour, and they had to buy sugar, and they had to buy different things. So in sacks. So if they marketed in sacks, they knew women would buy their goods because then they had the fabric afterward. I ran into an old lady, and I mean, she was pretty antique, at a quilt shop in Bozeman, Montana, and when the reproduction fabrics for this type of print came out in the 1980s, she was fingering them, and at that time I think they retail for about $4.50 a yard. And she said, "Oh, I remember when they were like 75 cents a yard." But that was better. These are better than that because we had to make our underwear out of those old feed sacks, and I couldn't wait to give that up, and I thought that was absolutely hilarious.